I tell my kids how special they are, how precious they are, how blessed I am to be their mom. And yet, how hard is it for us to truly receive those words? Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Bria Katrin, and thank you for coming. We are going to be talking about, well, Jesus, God's love for you, the healing power of his love for you. I've got a whole series that started a few months ago, and we haven't gotten very far. Although today, guess what? We're finally in chapter 2 of the book of Song of Songs, the greatest love song of all, a song written by the best author of all, God of the universe, who created us all and everything in it. And he authored this song, and it's the best love song of all, or the song of all songs, as it says, Song of Songs. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Last time we talked about, well, we were certainly talking about how God invites us into this marriage with him, uniting in his divinity with our humanity, our human nature, and how that's done here on earth. And there's this marital bed that Jesus is this temple, and we get this union with God, which is so powerful. And it's to start here on earth, this everlasting life, quality of life that starts here on earth. And it's not just a metaphor of what it's supposed to be like. It truly is this abundant, beautiful, God quality life. And so here we are today talking about lilies, actually. Not just lilies, but in spring. Just what is God saying? What is the bride saying? And what is the bridegroom saying in these next verses? So again, we're in this dialogue. We're not quite in the spring, but this really seems to be. The spring must be springing because that's what these verses are in some ways saying. So after the bridegroom declares this, our house is this temple, me. And she now responds, and I love this response. So point number 1 is going to be, let's look at what she does. She says, I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valleys. So she listens to the bridegroom, and she starts to respond back, mirroring how beautiful he says that she is. Because just a few verses before this, he's already been, basically that's all he's ever saying to her is how beautiful you are, not how much you suck, how much you failed, but really how beautiful you are. And so she mirrors this back. I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valleys. I'm actually I didn't bother preparing to talk about the rose of Sharon, but these are two beautiful flowers. We're going to talk about the lily, because I've spent more time personally meditating on this myself. So she says she's the lily of the valleys. And then guess what he says? As a lily among the thistles, so is my love among the maidens. That's as far as I think we're going to get today. So we have some pretty amazing verses to talk about this greatest love song of all. So again, we just finished talking about his marriage, this marriage between God and his people, Christ and his church, Jesus and you, if you would accept his invitation. Here on earth, the union of the divine God with human nature in the Word made flesh. That is the temple, the Word made flesh, Jesus. Okay, so the bride, again, she has not fully committed, but she's already entering in, right? And recognizing her own beauty, that he is declaring it's in him anyways because he created her. But it's this bold affirmation. So it actually takes a fair amount of humility to truly accept the things that God says about us. It's to be done in a way that we are not putting anybody else down or ourselves above them. Simply entering in and saying, God, if you say it, then I'm going to accept it and I'm going to believe it. And this is something that I have personally, and I coach so many people on, I teach so much on, is about accepting this truth of how beautiful you are, your worth to him, how much you matter, how much he cares for you, how much he loves you, dotes on you, is obsessed with you. So I think I say the same thing in basically every single video about that, but I will keep saying it because this is an ongoing journey. I know it is for me, And I know it is for most people to continually stay this course of trusting and knowing in his love for you. So interestingly though, as I was saying how hard this is, I was actually thinking about this as I was preparing for this video, how recently one of my children brought home their school photos, and I said, wow, they look really good, and he said, no, I don't like them. Oh, okay. Well, do you want to get retakes? Like, you can get retakes. Doesn't matter. You get any retakes, it won't be any better. Oh, my heart, my mama heart. I said, you are so handsome. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my mama heart for my boy. And I tell him all the time. I tell my kids how special they are, how precious they are, how blessed I am to be their mom. And yet, how hard is it for us to truly receive those words? Those words, right? We push them away. Maybe it's even for him. My mom has to say that. Although I know it's getting in there somehow. And at the same time, I will say that I think sometimes it's hard for us because if we say yes to it, like I was saying earlier, then am I saying that I'm better than others? Like there's some competition here, and nobody wants to be that person. I mean, we kind of inherently, we know it's kind of wrong, right? Well, it is wrong. But look at her go. So she is entering in and mirroring what he says about her. So we want to go ahead and do this. And to be honest, you can ask the Lord to help you to not, be competitive or put yourself above other people. Ask him to teach you. Don't opt out of it simply because you're like, I don't know how to do that. Ask for his help. She's doing it because she's recognizing it's the truth. Obviously she wants it. And this is really where I was like, I think in early in my journey, it was like, I'm just desperate. Like, I need this more than anything. Like, I need this. It wasn't like definitely wasn't like a competitive, it was almost like no one else could exist because I was so desperately needing his love and to be accepted. So go ahead and do it and ask him for his help to do it. Okay, we're going to talk about what it means to be a lily, or what a beautiful picture. In fact, this could be, if you're already brain retraining, this could be kind of a fun picture to even imagine yourself in. So spring is coming in this song. It's just kind of over the hill, we're about to see the crest of that hill. And I've learned that the lily of the valley, it's very possible and likely that this is actually not what we think of as a white lily. I guess those weren't really, I don't think they're even very common in Palestine. But in the spring, there is this red anemone, which like covers the floor, like the countryside and the bottoms of valleys from February to April. What a beautiful picture of this red lily plant, that's this flower that's adorning. It's like God, it's springtime, and when the earth is being adorned like a bride of God. Also, I just love that there's so many, because again, it's collective, right? We're this collective bride. One of the reasons they believe that is actually in this book, chapter 5, verse 13, it says his lips are lilies. His lips are not going to be white. Anyway, there's more reasons that I'm not going to get into, but it's very likely these red anemones, which I just think it's just such a beautiful picture to imagine. She says, I am the lily of the valleys. And he says, as a lily among the thorns, so is my love among the maidens. So interesting, as I was saying, I think in my last video, how the Bible starts to open up when you really see the allegory, the realities that are here. We enter in our souls, hungry for God. We start to see the cross-referencing, the overlapping in the rest of the Bible. And something that was brought to my attention is, well, where do we hear about lilies? Jesus talks about them. So Matthew 6, 25 to 33. I'm not going to read it all, but this is a wonderful passage. I'm sure many of you, if you've ever struggled with any anxiety at all, no, not me. Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink. But he goes on to say, Jesus is saying, is not life more than food and the body more than clothing? Keep going down. Verse 28, so why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So this is not 100% true, and we're not, I shouldn't say that. There's a possibility, I believe, that Jesus is making a cross reference here. And so if we can enter in with the song about being a lily, a bride, he is saying that his brides, they never toil nor they spin. They're strong. So he's talking about how strong his brides are, these lilies are. I mean, they grow. He says in the song that as a lily is among the thorns, meaning that, she's growing amongst them without toil nor spin. Right? They neither toil nor they spin. So in strength. And actually, we will read later in the song, he continually, he will declare more and more how strong she is, which is really, really awesome. When she's more committed, she goes through this and she actually comes out stronger. And he says that arrayed more than Solomon in all his glory. So going back to that picture of how we choose to say no to the truth of how beautiful we really, really are, your real beauty is so much more glorious than that of the richest man on earth could attain. That's how beautiful you are. That's what, if you enter in and say that Jesus could very well be talking about his brides. I understand that there are other meanings to this as well. But wow, isn't that powerful to think about? That your beauty, you're more glorious in your beauty, how more beautiful than the richest man could ever adorn himself with anything made of human hands. That God made you. He also says that he will watch over his bride, right? Will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? When he says that, well, all of this put together, O you of little faith, will he not much more clothe you? He tells us then to seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all of our needs will be taken care of, right? All of these things will be added. So when we put him in the right order, man, what a gift. That we will walk in this strength, in this glory of his. We'll have what we need. And he's right there saying that our Father knows for all these things. Your Father, Heavenly Father, knows that you need all of these things. Ooh, we will be when we put it in right order, it's secure. When we don't, it's not secure. Put God in his primary place, the secondary is guaranteed. When we don't put God in his primary place, the secondary is not guaranteed. And so often we are bowing the knee to worshiping when we aren't putting him in his primary place. Like it's talking about worry. We end up worshiping worry, fear, these other spirits that are speaking. So that's an interesting cross reference about being this lily among the thistles. So again, we're growing strong, without toiling or spinning. It says, so is my love among the maidens. Okay, so is my love. So he's got this exclusivity that he's declaring to her, this uniqueness to her, right? He is on his love, on his bride. Like you are his. His eyes are on you. And what's so cool about God, it's like he can do that with every one of us who chooses to worship him and to follow him. Okay, but I want to talk about the spring picture because I think this is where, wow, it gets so awesome. Okay, so spring, let's talk about spring. So the book of Hosea is a pretty poignant reference. But spring really is, if you've read anything, especially like I think of Isaiah, it really speaks of renewal, of the blessings, right? With the rain that comes, brings that growth, that life. This return of Israel to grace is what the spring symbolizes, like a recreation after these trials, this winter of exile. So this is what we're about to get into, is the spring. And here we are seeing her talking about this and giving us this picture of the spring. So let's go to the book of Hosea. It's a great book for those of you, by the way, who haven't read it. It's really, I think, in terms of chronological order and when the books are written, this might be a little bit off, but it is either the first or might not be the first, but it really is the first main narrative where we see God relating himself and his people as husband and wife, essentially, and bride. And that's, the book of Hosea is such a big overall narrative of this. We see a main theme in this book. If you haven't read it, by the way, it's really powerful, because we see his faithfulness, his people's unfaithfulness. His faithfulness, like the bride, the wife that he goes and takes, is essentially like a harlot and a prostitute and an adulterer. An adulteress, I guess I should say. And God calls him to take this woman as his wife, and he's faithful to her. What a picture of God's love for us to remember. It's interesting is actually, as I read the Old Testament, I always find it, I don't know if you guys do this, but I'm when I watch the Israelites' story of them failing and making poor decisions over and over and over again. It's ad nauseum. And I'm like, no, as if I'm watching a movie, right? I'm like, no, don't do that. So easy for us to say, I know, we're like, I wouldn't do that in that situation. But I'm pretty sure for every one of us, at some point, even in our walk with God, no matter how mature we get, that someone watching us would be like, don't do it! You're making the wrong decision. This is so my journey. None of us are perfect, right? And it's all him. It's all him and his faithfulness. Now, at the same time, I absolutely have to admit that as I continue to walk with the Lord, it's been awesome to see myself be able to respond more to him in love and have more capacity to do that. And by responding to him in love, I mean also loving other people, right? Because he tells us that if you give, a cup of water to this little one, you gave it to me, right? And that's, I'm not getting into the brain stuff right now, although I could, but just to remind everybody that when your brain is stuck in fight or flight, this stressed out brain, this prefrontal cortex that goes really offline, it's not functioning properly, you become less responsive, you become more reactive to stimuli, to what's going on around you, especially if it's patterns that you've experienced that are connected to negative, emotions. And as you come out of fight or flight, you come to rest in God, that this comes back online, you become more responsive, and you essentially have this freedom now to actually choose good, to choose God and not go down those old pathways. That's up to you whether you do or you don't still, but it's all him. It's all his work. It's all a work of his grace. And yet, wow, what a gift. So I can tell you, as I have not just grown in the Lord, because I came to him and first it very much was let's heal, right? Heal on many levels, but absolutely including a lot of physical healing. There was a lot of sickness in my body. And then beyond that, using these same tools with the Lord, have continued to see my relationship with God and my walk continually grow and transform in a way that it is absolutely impacting how much I'm loving him. And I mean that from loving what he loves, loving him, loving what he loves. He loves you, he loves me, right? He loves everybody. He is love. And to choose his way and what he's calling me to. So 0 credit, but I have to say that it's been really, really awesome to see myself, I guess, increase in my faithfulness to him, and all a credit to him, not to me. I'm using my hands a lot, aren't I? Now, again, okay, I'm not going to go into that side note. Okay, so let's go to the book of Hosea. We're going to actually go to the last chapter, chapter 14, which is like the best chapter because it's all about how Israel is restored. Don't we love those parts? So we're talking about spring here, and how the bride said that she is this lily of the valley, and the bridegroom is echoing that. It says, I'll just read the whole chapter because I love the Bible. Hopefully you guys do too. So it says, O Israel, return to the Lord your God, for you have stumbled because of your iniquity. Take words with you and return to the Lord. Say to him, take away all iniquity, receive us graciously, for we will offer the sacrifices of our lips. Assyria shall not save us. We will not ride on horses, nor will we say any more to the work of our hands, you are our gods, for in you the fatherless finds mercy. He says, I will heal their backsliding, I will love them freely, for my anger has turned away from him. I will be like the dew to Israel. He shall grow like the lily, and lengthen his roots like Lebanon. I shall be like the dew to Israel. He shall grow like the lily, and lengthen his roots like Lebanon. That's verse 5. I'll just finish it. Verse 6, his branches shall spread, his beauty shall be like an olive tree, and his fragrance like Lebanon. Those who dwell under his shadow shall return. They shall be revived like grain, and grow like a vine. Their scent shall be like the wine of Lebanon. Ephraim shall say, what have I to do any more with idols? I have heard and observed him. I am like a green cypress tree. Your fruit is found in me. Who is wise? Let him understand these things. Who is prudent? Let him know them. For the ways of the Lord are right. The righteous walk in them, but transgressors stumble in them. What a call. He's calling them in to restore them. I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely, for my anger has turned away from him. I will be like the dew to Israel. He shall grow like the lily. So this is a good cross-reference to make, since this narrative is about God talking about his people, him being the faithful husband, and them being the unfaithful wife who goes and plays the harlot, which we see a lot in the Old Testament, these references. So powerful, because this spring that's being offered, as we talked, is like this renewal, right? And this recreation, this new season, this new life. And that's what Jesus gives us, is this eternal, in a sense, like an eternal spring, eternal like growth in life. What I want to focus on though right now is that something that I read in this book that I've read, because I don't want to take credit for this thought. Actually, I have it here, right here in my notes. They said, for each one of us also a conversion, whatever the past has been and whatever our age, is always a return of the spring. No winter of sin can be an obstacle to this spring of love. So no matter our past, our failures as a child, as a parent, as a spouse, as an employee, as a friend, a brother, a sister, employer, steward of this earth, a neighbor, as a representative of Christ, no matter how badly we have failed, how many times we have failed, this conversion that God, this restoration that God offers us. So this bride, as she's declaring, I am the lily, a lily of the valleys, in this spring picture that we have, which is all over the Bible, and it's here in Hosea, that they're saying, all of them, God is saying, no winter of sin can be an obstacle to this spring of love. No winter, no matter how bad, no matter how deep, no matter how wicked, no matter what you've done, right? that none of this is an obstacle to his spring of love. So what better day than today to start this new life, this spring of love? Like, don't wait till tomorrow. If this is you, if you're like, yes, I am still in the winter, like, I need the spring. It's for you right now. Choose life today. That's what spring is all about. It's about life, and again tomorrow, and again the next day. One thing that I learned with the science of neuroplasticity, which was so awesome, is that my brain programming, my mind today, is controlling my life. It's a pretty big statement. My brain programming, my mind today, is controlling my life. It's controlling my filters, my identity. I mean, really my actions so often, my thoughts, my emotions, my behaviors, and my health. When I learned my health is, my brain is the control center from optimal health. So this invitation from God that he talks about with spring and this recreation, this regeneration, this opportunity to return to grace, to be with him. We all know it's through him, right? Well, hopefully you all know. This eternal salvation that we've been given, this quality of life here on earth too, not just for like fire insurance for later. It's so interesting as I've learned how we can start to see that so much of our sickness that comes from this chronic stress response does come from this chronic stress response. So much of our sickness is simply because we have not yet come to know and rest in the truth, this perceived danger response that I talk about. That's, we're not safe, we're not okay, But the truth is, through Jesus Christ, this invitation that there's nothing that can separate you. That's what Paul says, right? I have come to know that there's nothing that can separate us from the love of God. This eternal reality, this eternal freedom, this eternal salvation, that we are free from eternal death. Our home is heaven, in his arms. And let's embody it, is my point. That's what I learned to say yes to, was to say, what is that saying? And how do I now experience, how am I supposed to experience that? This eternal spring that Jesus is offering. He says in John 4:14, the woman at the well scene, which we all know so well, hopefully, so beautiful, that's why I say that. Jesus answered and said to her, "Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life." He's talking about water, rain. I think about this eternal, this rain of spring, this blessing of the rain, and it being in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. So this eternal spring, in a sense, that God is inviting us into. What an invitation, that it's not just a metaphor. Thanks, got that one. I'll remember that verse. It's for us to receive here on earth. That is the Holy Spirit coming, in whom there is no darkness, no sickness, no crap, just pure holiness and life. Which again, as spring is such a sign of life, of recreation, right? This new life. We are new creatures in Christ, that all the old has passed away. Behold, everything is new. His love, he is love. Like, he is animating you and I now. What a beautiful, beautiful picture. Okay. So let's embody these realities. Let's not just cut off and say, yep, okay, got it. Saved, new creature, got it. Let's embody it. And that's what I'm all about in my coaching practice with people in brain training. It's taking what is true, allowing it to permeate, and actualizing these things, and learning how to come alongside in the process and co-labor in it to choose life each and every step, every day. Whoo! Wow, what a gift. What a gift. Okay, I think that might be it for today. So to end this, I just want to say, hold this heart posture that God is inviting you daily. to this new creation life, this union, that again, through this marital bed, through earth, that we have this union with him, and then we can walk this out. And that it is your springtime, and you are this lily. So embrace the truth of how beautiful you are, this beautiful, special flower. That God is like when God adorns his earth with these beautiful flowers in the spring, his bride, right? He adorns his bride. I guess he adorns the earth as his bride, in the spring. And just receive it. Start to drink in the reality of this life that's within you, the Holy Spirit that is indwelling in you. And again, as always, this intimacy to walk in with the Lord. So God bless you.